Hi Cancer, welcome to your week ahead taroscope with me, Raphael from Radiant Reality. It's an absolute pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for joining me. Your key to the week this week is the Strength card. So this card has been quite active this week, and in a lot of ways, when this card shows up, I often say to people, in your heart of hearts, what is it that you genuinely want? This is a week for you to really start to understand that. More importantly, when it comes to your physical health and vitality this week, this is something that you really want to focus on. The Strength card does represent your physical being, your physical body, and so this week you have to look after yourself on that physical level. That being said, in all of these different areas of your life this week, you are being asked to not only to show up, but to really put and pour the essence of who you are into whatever it is that is being asked of you or is required from you. With that said, I would like to bless my deck of cards with all forms of love, light, peace, prosperity and abundance, and I pray that the messages that come through are ultimately clear and concise. They help you on your path to your highest vibrational good. So for your actions and your actions and options, you have the Chariot card. Look at this, right? So in a lot of ways, this is a great week for conquering an aspect of yourself and also finding the courage or the bravery that you need to move ahead with an idea, with a plan. It does suggest to me that this is about you sort of moving in a direction that you want to go in, but maybe you haven't had the courage, maybe you haven't had the grit, right? And so this week you find what you need within you to say, okay, this is the direction that I want to go in and this feels right to me. It may also be for some of you that you need to take some time out in order to do this. Now, if you've seen any of my numerology videos, certainly for the 2023 year ahead video, even if I do say so myself, it was quite good. But what I put across to people there was, in the last 3 months of the year, you start to feel the next year's energy coming in for you. And you know, as we're now in November, we're feeling that 2023 energy start to come in. Now 2023 is a 7 year. You've got the Chariot here, which is the number 7, and the message behind this is the message behind the 7 year that I said to everybody. I don't care whether you're married, whether you're partnered, whether you've got 1 million kids, whether you've got 1 kid, whether you live with a family, whatever it might be. This year, as in next year, 2023, you must take some time out where you literally spend time on your own to decompress, to get out of other people's space, other people's energies, right? I've encouraged everybody to take at least 1 long weekend out of the entire year where you just get back to yourself. This does suggest to me that this week you may be doing this anyway. You might be saying, okay, you know what, in preemptive to that, it could be for any number of reasons. Maybe your family are traveling, but you can't go because you've got work. Maybe you are, do you see what I mean? So like, this would be a really good week to spend some time alone to really understand what is going on at the deepest part of you. For your communications and conversations, you've got the Moon card. That is your card as well, I forgot to mention. Remember, the Chariot card is ruled by Cancer. You've got the Moon card here in the communications and conversations. This week it looks like, you know, and this is usually not something that Cancer struggles with at all, right? Is saying how you feel. This is your bread and butter. However, this week, maybe you're not able to get across what it is that you're trying to say, or maybe the way that you communicate something doesn't really hold the same weight as the level of emotion, commitment, love, grace, whatever it is that you're trying to get across. This card for communications can see things get a little bit murky, so just keep that in mind. It does suggest as well that in some way, shape or form, remember the Moon card is the past. So for some of you, you could literally be taking an actual trip down memory lane. So maybe you're traveling back to somewhere that you've been, somewhere that you've lived. You've got this here with the Strength card. And in a lot of ways, because it is the Moon card as well, and remember in ancient astrology the moon ruled the body, this really does, maybe if you're feeling something on that physical body or health level, Maybe it's because you're not communicating something that you actually need, want, or desire. This is a time to be really honest with yourself, right? Even if you can't be honest with someone else or you can't articulate the words, this is a really good week for you to be honest about what you need that either is present or isn't present, or about how you go after it. This is a week to be really brave. When it comes to those of you that are studying or in some form of academia, I've got to say, this week you might be faced with a subject that is really difficult to take on board, or, you know, and this is the thing, sometimes the subject matter, it's got nothing to do with us, right? But because we're so deeply ingrained to it, maybe we've had an experience that is around this. I know, like, if you take like psychology and stuff like that, there are some things that you learn through that process. It can be really quite like, oh, you know, this is very close to the bone. So for some of you, I feel like that might be the case. For those of you that are employed by somebody else, quite frankly, this is you having or broaching, should I say, a conversation that you've already had with a boss, a superior, and it's like whatever answer, excuse me, energy shift there. All right, so it's like whatever answer you had previously, it wasn't good enough at the time, but you thought, you know what, let sleeping dogs lie. This time round, it's like, you know that you're no longer able to do that. And it's like, whatever the results are, I have to have this conversation now. So you might push to have a conversation around something, and it may probably not get heated, but you definitely will walk away from it kind of maybe more confused in some aspects, but you will feel good for having said what you need to say. Finally, when it comes to, when it comes to those of you that are business owners, entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, this, I really think that for a lot of you, this could be that you're bringing a service back, or maybe you are like revamping something that you'd already done, maybe something that you really enjoyed but it didn't do well, and so it's like you're trying to find a new way of repurposing or repackaging this. And then finally, when it comes to those of you that are retired and no longer working, this would be a good week to take some time out, right? Even like if you're unemployed and you're like, Raf, I'm looking for a job, I don't have any money at the moment, I can't get away, then you know what, utilize the world around you. Go out for long walks where you can do some really deep thinking. There's so many ways that you can do this that really don't require a lot of money, if any, at all. For those of you, for your love and relations, should I say, you've got the Star card. This is actually really nice. And the reason I think it's really nice is because you've got the Strength card here as the key to the week. And so this suggests that you're having the bravery and the courage that you need to go after what you need, you know, what you feel you need to. But the Star card, excuse me, lots of shifts. Okay, but the Star card, and it's a really interesting set of numbers. I'm going to talk about this in a moment. But the Star card suggests that for those of you that are partnered, married, or in long-term commitments, some of you could be doing some traveling this week, very possible. For others, if your significant other is in another part of the world, or you know, maybe you've been separated for a while, this could be a week where finally you get back together, or you realign sort of in the space, if that makes sense. I like this though. I actually think it's quite nice. With the Moon card, this is a very, very interesting energy, and there's so many things that I could say, but I will say this. When it comes to things or people that you feel like may or may not be interfering in your relationship, you must speak your mind. Finally, for those of you that are single and looking, I like this, meeting somebody through a friend. All right, like I like this for maybe chatting to somebody over the internet, probably somebody that lives quite far away, and maybe you're kind of like, well, you know, there's so much distance between us, nothing's going to happen, but hey, listen, it's lovely to chat. All right, like I like this. I actually think it could be a lot of fun. Before we get into your money and materials, for those of you that asked, will Mindset Magic ever be the same price as the introductory rate ever again? No is the answer to that question, but on the 24th of November, there will be I think it's just over half price off of that course. So you can get the code for that on the link in the description for 24 hours only. So you'll be getting the next 2 community calls. You get all the energy editing, the numerology. We also talk about the moons as well, and as if that wasn't enough, there is a step-by-step process guide of how to manifest anything you want, and it is literally repeatable. I created something that people could use time and time again, and it's there indefinitely. All right, so if you want to get that, like I said, it's not going to be the introductory price. That's never going to happen again, but it will be up to, well, it's kind of almost half price. All right, so if you want to get that, remember the 24th of November. The code is in the description below, and it will only be on for 24 hours. So I'm giving you a long heads up here. All right, for your money and materials, you have the Knight of Swords. So when it comes to finances, this week you might spend money in a knee-jerk reaction. All right, it's almost like you're chucking money at something because you feel like that's going to fix it. Be mindful of that this week, because you might end up suffering a little bit of buyer's remorse. It may also be as well that you know, like, so this happened to me in probably about 3 months ago. Me and some friends had made plans, and we were like, yeah, we're going to go here. It's going to be great. Before checking any flights or any, you know, just complete idiot, I really didn't think very far ahead. I just went and booked an Airbnb, and then we were like, oh yeah, well, we can't make it because the time, the flights, none of it lined up. So this could be where you chuck money into something and then you realize really quickly, I'm not going to be able to do that. Be mindful with your finances this week, especially about quick purchases. When it comes to your physical health and vitality, really watch out for your nervous system this week. Like, it could take a bit of a beating. When it comes to your home and environment, I mean, a lot of you, it looks like you're not spending time at home, or at least you're spending some time away from home, or you are, for those of you that are in different spaces to your partner, this is a reuniting of that, but it's kind of like you have to go and pick them up, or they have to come and pick you up. So there is that element of you spending some time alone this week, which I actually think could be a good thing. With that said, I wish you an abundance of all of that good stuff. Have a fantastic week. Let me know in the comments how it shapes up. Take care, and I'll see you soon.